Hi guys, Iron Cameraman here. Let's be real, we have no idea what's coming. I mean, the second part of episode 79, wait a second, I've heard that line before. Back in episode 73, G-Toilet said it. And now in 79, the Duchess basically repeats it word for word. Yeah, it's a reference, but it's more than just fan service. Most of the callbacks in this episode actually hold clues, hidden hints pointing to one big question: what's coming in part 2? Let's start with the most obvious one, all the nods to episode 50. First, we get a shot-for-shot remake of the POV running out of the base. Then there's Plunger Woman, walking toward her fate just like Plunger Man once did, sacrificing herself. And since she's clearly his successor, that's no coincidence. So what does this mean? If Boom is doing a 2.0 version of episode 50, then there's no way he's skipping the key part of that episode, the base's big rescue. But who's gonna be the new savior this time? At first glance, it feels like it could be the Titan Cameraman. The parallel to episode 50 is obvious, but I'm gonna say nope. For one, the TV Titan still has that red hypnosis blast that drives cameramen insane. Two, bringing him back now would be a huge move. Maybe too huge. Plus, there are other characters that make way more sense. You might think the hero who turns the tide will be G-Man, and you'd be almost right. But I don't think he's jumping into the battlefield. More likely, he's gonna show up near the end of the episode and talk to the Duchess, after the real showdown happens between the Savior and the Watchman of Doom. And that line, "You have no idea?" It might be more than just a cool throwback. It could be a teaser for that future conversation. A subtle hint supporting the increasingly popular theory that the Duchess is actually G-Man's daughter. And now, my friends, it's time to talk about the Alliance's best hope. Their ultimate weapon. The one guy who might just punch his former friend in the face. I'm talking about Titan Speaker Man! Yeah, I'm really confident in this one. And here's why. Throughout the whole Astro arc, Boom has been using revenge as a key motivator for nearly every character. Epic lines like for Plunger, for Scientist, that Plunger Man statue, and of course Camera Woman, who literally embodies vengeance with her whole look, all make it super clear. Emotional loss is what drives the heroes forward, and that's exactly why Titan Speaker Man fits this role perfectly. He didn't just lose TV Titan, he also lost Titan Cameraman, the same one who once pulled him out of infection. And now, he's watching the enemy assault the cameraman's main base. Sure, we know Titan Cameraman is still alive, but the characters don't. As far as they're concerned, he's gone. Even in episode 77, TV Titan says something like, "While they don't have the Titan, I'll take care of them." But if he's gone now too, then that responsibility falls to Titan Speakerman. Another clue is that for the first time, the POV character in episode 79 is a Speaker Man. But how's that going to work? What can we even expect on the battlefield when so many powerful characters are present at once? The Duchess, the TV Man Titan, the Speaker Man Titan, and most likely G-Man at the end too. I'll get to that in a bit. But first, if you're enjoying my breakdowns and logic, please give this video a like. Every like powers up my iron suit for creating new theories. Your like is just like the capsule for Simp Cameraman, though sadly, I haven't reached Giga Chad level yet. One day, maybe. Anyway, here we go. Let's start with something fun. And something we already touched on in the analysis. It's about Detective Cameraman and why he's so interested in the prototype device that allows you to understand the skibidi language and the Speakerman language. In part 1 of episode 79, we could spot most of the G-Squad. Mike, Sigma Boy, and Mafia were all there. But one character was missing, the SWAT skibidi. Funny thing is, this is the same guy who had a photo of the secret agent before and clearly wants to know who he is. He's investigating it, just like Detective Cameraman. The fact that he's not with his squad suggests he's already in the detective's office, and they've already spoken. But the detective is tired of guessing games and hand gestures, so he steps out to clear his head. That's when he notices the Speaker Man showing the prototype to Scientist Cameraman, and that's why he suddenly snatches it. He wants to finish his interview and get all the answers he needs. Also, it's likely the Speakerman's side has witnesses with information the detective needs too. Basically, this device is going to be a huge help in his investigation. I think by episode 80, he's going to figure out a lot and uncover some secret info that'll add a whole new parallel storyline to the Astro arc. There's one more character who found something game-changing in episode 79, Kleiner. When Doom throws his sword and destroys scientist's mech, Kleiner just says, "Fascinating." He's clearly shocked at how powerful that sword was, and that means he's definitely going to try and recreate something similar, maybe for G-Toilet or some other major character. Sure, the sword probably won't stay with the Alliance long enough to be studied or copied, but I have no doubts about Kleiner. The guy's a genius. Just look at how genuinely hyped he is about what he saw. I bet he already figured out the sword's material structure on a molecular level in just a few seconds. By the way, since we're talking about things on a molecular level, I just have to bring up Robert. That guy got to know the Duchess really up close. One of the viewers even suggested he might not have died, but got stuck between, well, you know what I mean. But sadly, the subtitles and what we saw on screen clearly show he didn't make it. There's a small chance the camera itself wasn't destroyed, and someone could still view the footage. But unfortunately, transmissions are currently offline. So whatever Robert saw in his final moments, nobody else will ever see. I feel like if Hugo Boss ever heard about what happened, he'd realize that seeing the hunter's face before dying isn't even the worst way to go. Anyway, let's get into something more serious. Some of you might be thinking, wait a minute, what about the Speaker Army? Because if Titan's Speaker Man heads to the base and doesn't help his crew, that's it for them. There's no way they're gonna hold off the Astro Transporter. And yeah, I agree with that. Executioner clearly used his sword like a beacon, obviously meant for their Titan. It was part of their plan that someone powerful would come help. So yeah, Titan Speakerman is definitely gonna show up and back up his team, maybe even take out the transporter, or at least do some serious damage. But there's no contradiction in what I said earlier. In skibidi toilet, scenes often happen either at the same time or with huge time skips, and extra scenes usually fill in the gaps later. Doesn't matter if it happens off-screen or in a future update. The events in episodes 78 and 79 clearly don't happen back-to-back. You can tell just from what Polycephaly TV Man says at the start of 79. He literally complains about taking the trash out for hours. So at least a few hours have passed since he and Hugo Boss did that mission from episode 78. In that time, Titan Speakerman could have fought the transporter, had a cup of tea, gone grocery shopping, heck, even taken a nap. And you know what just hit me? A genius idea. If that fight between Titan Speakerman and the transporter happened off-screen, wouldn't it be epic if he showed up with the transporter's head as a trophy to impress the Duchess? Or maybe something else if the transporter managed to escape the battle. That said, let's be real. Even if Titan Speakerman could take down the Watchman of Doom, I doubt he would. From a story perspective, that'd be weird. Both of them just got their upgraded forms, and Boom's not the kind of guy to wipe out either one right after their big reveal. I'm expecting a showdown more like episode 65, a huge, flashy fight that ends with a surprising twist. That way, fans get the action they want, and Boom keeps the key characters in play. It's already clear that Doom is eventually gonna return to being TV Man Titan. The Alliance, with help from Speakerman, is gonna try to reach what's left of his soul, which honestly makes for a much cooler arc than just ripping off the Parasite Core. But I wouldn't count on that happening in episode 79. Most likely, part 2 is gonna make things even worse, and the real turning point will hit in episode 80, and I'm betting G-Man will be the failsafe. His appearance could open the door for some real talk and finally give us a better understanding of what the Astro Toilets are actually trying to do. Boom already mentioned that in episode 79, we'll finally find out what the Astros were talking about with fake G-Man back in episode 60. Plus, this episode is supposed to reveal some new abilities to us, the viewers. So yeah, I'm super hyped and can't wait to see how the second part wraps up. If you're just as excited, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of my updates or theories. Catch you soon.